When you're in love, I mean, based from my experience, you really don't see any flaws. Like, when you're in love, they literally wake up in the morning and they look like a rat, but you're like, oh, look at this beautiful human being. Like, you're like, wow, look at your hair. I've always wanted to share my story through songs that I've written. I'm actually working on an album right now, and the whole concept is just about my life experiences, from like the best experiences to the worst experiences. Sweet Delusion is like the perfect introduction to that. Sweet Delusion is about being in love with someone, knowing that deep down inside, they're not gonna be there with you forever, but you're just like, no, I'm in love in this moment. Like, I don't wanna think about that. It's the way you say you're such a gentleman. It's the time you take to give me compliments. When I was writing this, it was very specific to a person. I'm very careful with like shit talking about a person in my music. Like I would never do that. This is me just throwing shade a little bit. It's the way you say you're such a gentleman. Because it's funny because he says it, but he's actually not a gentleman. This guy is a yapper. It's love, it's the beginning. In every relationship I was in, it always starts very sweet, butterflies in your stomach, very wholesome and beautiful. When the sun comes up, I hear the dissonance, red alert, alarm, but I'm not listening. It's love, it's love. It's tunnel vision. Red flags pop up. You're just like, I'm disregarding that. I don't care about the red flags. Like you're, like I said, tunnel vision. You're enjoying the moment. You're like, oh, but like, he's like so sweet to me. He probably talks to other girls, but like, he's so nice. Like he gives me flowers, you know? Sweet delusion, forever all consuming. It's actually one of my favorite lines in that song. It just means that you're stuck in that fake reality and you just love how it makes you feel because you don't want to deal with the reality. It literally consumes you, like it could make you crazy. I don't think I've ever really showed off my vibrato that much. So it goes like, consuming. Like, I've never really done that in a song before. And so I was just like so happy that I could show it off. It's a fantasy, better than being alone. Keep me company. Don't you ever let go. Lose my sanity and get lost in the smoke. 'Cause reality is inevitable. This is the moment you realize that he wants to move on. And it's that moment when you're just like, well, I don't want you to go. It's hard to be alone. It gets lonely and you just want someone there to hold you and tell you it's okay and you're safe. I always love to have a contrast with my music. When the lyrics are sad, it's either the production is happier or like the melodies are happier. So it's just not like super sad, the whole thing. I want my songs to be hopeful. I wanted it to end that way in the chorus because like I wanted to remind the listener to get back to reality, literally. I'll admit that silence is my favorite, but some nights it can be so suffocating. Can you die from hyperventilation? Sweet delusion. Silence is my favorite. I could literally sit in my room for a whole day without talking to anyone. A huge reason why is because I grew up in such a chaotic household. I grew up with so many animals, chickens, cows, goats, sheep. It's loud. And my parents are always yelling at each other. So now as an adult, I'm like, I want my peace time. But sometimes it could be suffocating. I wasn't having enough communication with the person I was dealing with. He loves to talk, but when it's time to talk, he doesn't talk. Like he doesn't want to fix the problem. He gives me the silent treatment. And that's when it starts being suffocating. Forever all consuming. It's a fantasy, better than being alone. Keep me company. Don't you ever let go. Lose my sanity and get lost in the smoke, 'cause reality is inevitable. Usually, people use bridge to take the listener to a whole different world, but in this song, I wanted the listener to feel how I feel. You can kind of hear like my voice cracking a little bit. It's because like when I was recording that, it was like 4 a.m. in the morning. I was almost crying, honestly. It was very emotional because I was just feeling every single lyric, you know, it's just like it hurts. My goal as an artist is honestly to help people and make people feel something. Like when they listen to my songs, I want them to take something from it and also to feel what I'm trying to say. I honestly think Sweet Delusion is just an appetizer. I've written like so many like beautiful songs. I think Sweet Delusion is just like a very good like beginning of, you know, the chapter.